Right, we're on the phone with Defuse from Texas, long distance call. Last time we spoke was at WEMF, the World Electronic Music Festival over the summer, and you were forced to step up behind Madame Zhu. And for those that know what she plays a little harder than you do.
Yeah, I say a lot.
How is that experience compared to some other situations you've played at? Have you played at anything quite as tough?
I'd have to say that's the hardest DJ probably. Not too long ago, I guess it was, it's been about a couple of years, but I played after Fergie in England in Birmingham at the God's Kitchen night. And that was kind of the same situation. I mean, it's just a thing where you just dig through, find your hardest records you got, and just go with it. I mean, I generally don't play that hard, but I think it's a matter of, it's important to me to match where the vibe is, and the place was going, was enjoying it and liking the music, so I wanted to continue that vibe, and then from there you can kind of go wherever you want to go. So I kind of toned it a little bit down and tapered it down just a bit as the set went along. So it was definitely a challenge, but I'm always up for that.
You were at Republic just the past weekend, Toronto's new hot spot. Explain to us what the club is all about.
Well, it's an amazing club. I mean, one thing I really enjoyed was just, everybody that was there, the staff, the resident DJs, everybody, the owners, everybody was great. Lighting was just on point. The sound system was really good, too. And so it seems like they're doing good things there. They kind of have a really cool, kind of house vibe early in the night, and then, starting at 2, they take it a bit more underground with guest DJs, and that's the plan they're doing now. I had a great time there. I thought it was just a very well-built club. Like I said, the sound system was excellent, so was the lighting. So I think Toronto's going to keep seeing good things from Republic.
Is playing at a Canadian club different than playing at one in the States?
Yeah, it depends on where you're at, but it seems like in Canada, or especially, Toronto or Vancouver, cities that played like that, they really, it's almost like they take it to the next level in a way. You can tell it's much more of a, there's a lot more of a fan base for it. The clubs generally tend to, spend a bit more money. The sound systems seem to be a little bit better. The people seem to be a little bit more educated and into it. Of course, there's places in America where it's like that too. There's a place, the West Coast, there's great clubs all on the West Coast, and the East Coast there's some good ones too. I mean, even there's a small club in Kansas City that is excellent as well. So it happens, but it seems like it's a bit more consistent in Canada.
If you were to give advice and to say to one DJ that there's one club or festival in the entire world that you must play at, what would that be?
Man, if I were to say one, I really enjoyed playing the WEMF this year, or last year. We're working on doing it again this year. I thought that was cool, and it's great to see a festival like that. As far as another one that I've really enjoyed doing is Coachella. And the cool thing about Coachella is that it kind of fuses live music as well as DJs and electronic music. So there's just tons of stages everywhere, and it's all kind of just different alternative type bands, as well as just really solid DJs and electronic acts. So I think it's one of those festivals that maybe someone that's in live music can all of a sudden check out a DJ, and vice versa. So people are kind of, there's a good chance that people that might not even have ever heard a DJ before all of a sudden will be into the music. And I think that's a great way to move it forward, is to bring different styles together so people can kind of check out different things.
Love Parade Berlin just got canceled for the second year in a row. Do you ever think that event will ever get going? Or do you think mini ones like the version in San Diego will pop up and take its place?
Actually, with San Francisco, I think you're talking about, where they did the Love Parade last year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. That's tough to say. I think, I guess just growing pains with Love Parade. I mean, it was just so massively attended. I don't know specifically what's going on with that, but I do know going to, I was one of the headliners at Love Parade in San Francisco, and I thought it was just amazing. And the fact that it was a smaller event, I think they had about 30,000 people at the actual parade, and then throughout the night, all over the city, there were clubs that went all night. I got a chance to play right on the bay, on a big dock, right on the bay, and I played all the way until sunrise, and it was one of the most amazing vibes I've seen, and I know everybody is talking about the next one. So I think it has I think it was good this year that they didn't really blow it out or do any crazy advertising. They really kind of, got the word out, but not so it would be too crazy. And there were no incidents. There were, it was just the perfect crowd. It was a great vibe, and I think it's a good thing to kind of start small and build it. And I think that's what they did this year, and it was a real success.
So you're looking to go back to San Francisco for the American version again?
Definitely. I love playing San Francisco. I'm there quite a bit, about every 3 months, 2 or 3 months, and it's definitely one of my favorite cities to play.
In order to strive in the industry, a DJ or producer must market themselves. Everybody knows and understands this. You have clothing, CDs, and of late been featured in a New York art exhibition. How important is marketing versus pure skill?
That's a tough one. I would say they're both equally as important. Whether it's good or bad. The fact is, in this day and age, the music business, whether you're talking about DJs or whether you're talking about bands, live music, either way, it's become, you have to work it like a business because other people out there are. And so it is important to kind of get a brand out there and to get a brand and to get an image and to get something that's marketable out there. In the end, what that does is pushes your music further out there. And that's all you're ever trying to do. At the end of the day, I think all of us would rather just sit back and just make music. That's why we're doing this. But in order to make the music, push it further, you have to kind of get that marketing concept down and get that image and get that branding and get your name out there consistently. And so I don't think you can have one without the other. I think they're both pretty equally important, whether that's good or bad or otherwise. That's just the way the industry is now.
With the downfall of ID&T and Party 93.1, do you think there will be a switch to XM and other satellite services joining the ranks of yourself and the People's Mix?
Absolutely. I think satellite radio is the future of music. I think it's I believed in it from the very, very beginning. I signed on with XM Radio and XM80 the day the music channel launched, and I always believe that radio is just a vast wasteland for the most part. Aside from some solid mix shows that are bounce around here or there, radio is just a big corporate animal because of all the deregulation that generally the people that run our nation now have done in radio. One person owns so much of radio that it's become this homogenous, very sterile, stripped down thing where they're not really pushing the music forward. All it is numbers. All they look is marketing numbers or whatever. You've got one guy in an office somewhere dictating the music for 50 to 100, 200 channels. And so it all sounds the same, and everybody, they want some variety. People still love music. That you can't just spoon feed them the entire time, and that's all radio has done the last 10 years. And it's seen a decline now, and rightly so. I hope XM Radio continues to kick the music business on its butt. I mean, not the music business, but FM radio. And hopefully, therefore, there'll be some sort of change in FM, and they'll realize that people want a variety of music. They don't want just one thing or one band, played 50 times a day. They want to hear new music, and they want to hear exciting music. And XM Radio is providing that now, and I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Let's talk about Begin, the new album. How's it doing?
It's doing well. It could be better. The industry is still, the CD sales industry is really tough. It's still really tough. There are still a lot of people out there file sharing the music, which, I think is good for music in a way, but I also think it's bad in the fact that, the labels are really having a hard time, and they're struggling big time right now. As far as, I couldn't be happier with the reviews that I've got on the CD. I worked really hard. The CD was 3 years of my life, and for all of the editors, reviewers, and magazines and websites to all give it such glowing reviews it really means a lot to me, and that makes me happy. I'm out there touring all the time, and it's definitely selling steady. The CD is definitely it's not a massive success, but it's definitely gotten out there, and we've got some really good licensing on a lot of compilations. As far as the Living the Dream, I think as far as compilations and singles sold, we're up at about 150,000 copies of that. So that's, I'm really happy about that.
You started off by selling it online, which was an interesting way to release the album first through a download service, which you do pay for.
Right.
Did that give you any boost in the album sales, or was there minimal effectiveness of that?
That's hard to say because, electronic music, it tends to keep selling less overall is the weird thing. So it's very hard to tell. It's very hard to gauge how successful you're doing because the entire amount of sales that electronic music does continues to fall. So you could have a real success, but all of a sudden the industry's taken a hit in the last month. So what should be a success looks kind of like it didn't do very well. So that's hard to say. I think it was a great thing, though. It's on iTunes. It is a great thing for the business, and I recommend it to anybody to go to Beatport or go to iTunes. They're great sites, and they're very easy to navigate, and I think they're really exciting and a great future. And I believe in sites like that is the future of music. We're not going to be carrying around CDs that much longer, I don't believe. And so basically, it was able to kind of get a buzz going, and we did that. What was exciting is that I released that CD myself, so that didn't actually go through a record label. And in a way, that's exciting because that's me putting my stuff out directly to the fans rather than having to go through a middleman to judge whether your music's good or bad or otherwise. You get it out there yourself, and that's really what that was all about, is getting that EP out. It did really well on iTunes. It charted really well. And in Europe, which I've always, it's a challenge to get good distribution in Europe, being an American artist in progressive music. But we charted. I think we were in the top 5 in France, England, Germany, and Italy on iTunes. So that's really getting the music out there, and I think that's electronic music download sites like that are just going to continue to grow and really empower the artists to get their music out there.
So are those downloading sites the combat to file transferring and illegal download shares and so on? Or is maybe something else coming up? Because I've heard in Japan they are now experimenting with this instant purchasing on your phone of MP3s and so on.
Yeah, no, I think there's going to be a variety of ways to do it. But yeah, I think music, it's going through a massive change right now, a big upheaval. And basically what's going to happen in a big way is that record labels will just go away. And they'll be more like maybe record brokers or people that do promotion online. But there'll be a real big variety of and very cost-effective and cheap ways to get music now. Sites like Napster, where you can have access to, hundreds of thousands of songs, is one thing. Yeah, like you're saying, you have your cell phone and you just download an MP3 when you hear a song you like. That's going to be a big thing too. The ease of use, as the technology continues to progress, the ease of use to get good music is just going to be mind-blowing. And so I think we're going to see a big music explosion in the next 5 to 10 years because all of a sudden it's going to be extremely easy and much, much cheaper to get music. And so people aren't going to be encouraged to file share or steal the music like that. It'll be so cost-effective and cheap to just buy a subscription to a download service or to just go on iTunes and pick up an album for $10 that, people are going to want to just pay for it because it's easier to do.
Any new planned releases or remixes coming off of Begin?
Yeah, we've got Matthew Decay, who's a really good remixer, just finished one for the album. And that is coming out mid-May. It's gotten a lot of attention, and we've gotten a lot of DJs out there that have been asking about it. So there's a real big buzz about that. He did a remix of Living the Dream. I don't know if I said that, but we also just put out a 5-song remix of Everything With You, and that's got some really good remixes by DJ Buds out of New York, also Jay Hazen and DJ 3. Do a killer breaks mix. There's a really good remixes of that. That's on iTunes right now. That just came out. And I just went in the studio. I'm working on right now People 3. So I'm in the studio doing remixes, exclusive stuff like that to release on that as well.
Working with anyone new, or is there anyone you'd really like to work with in the future?
Right now I'm working pretty consistently with Mike Hratzka out of Los Angeles. We've really been clicking, and we've done 2 mixes together. One was the Thrill Kill Cult, the track The Days of Swine and Roses. We did a remix of that went over really well. It turned out to be a really big single for him. And then we also just did a remix of Scanners, who are out of Scotland. The track I did with them a few years back called Music Is About You, which was on People 2. We just did a remix of that. So I am looking at moving residents from Texas to Los Angeles here in a month or so, and we're going to get together and start working together as far as I really want to work and push my sound a lot further live. I'm a drummer, and the album has a lot of live instrumentation, and I want to take that further. So we're looking at forming a live project together, and so we're going to start on that, within the next month or so. As far as really fusing electronic music with live music, is something we're kind of moving forward with.
So maybe see some of these live PAs, and with you especially, with a real live aspect to it, because a lot of the artists that are quote-unquote live are really just sequenced and throwing a melody on top, which you play with your keyboard by pressing start. So it looks very interesting in that aspect, and I'm looking forward to seeing that for sure.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been a drummer all my life, and so I play percussion with my sets, but I really want to get down behind the drums again and just play live drums and, do vocals and stuff. But that's my background is live music. I was in bands for 10 years, so it's a chance for me to kind of really take it to a live level rather than just kind of standing up there. I think people want more now. They want, the DJ culture is awesome, and, I love spinning records, but I can't help but think sometimes people get a little bit bored, and they're looking for someone that maybe, they're looking for something just a little bit more, and that's something that I'm working on.